Scorpio. Welcome to your energies for the upcoming week of September 9th through 15th. We're going to take a look at everything that's been going on previously so that we can get the right foot started on the upcoming energies together. So yeah, let's just take a look at all the energies that Scorpio is coming in with from the previous week, the week preceding September 9th. We've got the potential card. Protection. I almost said projection. And resilience. I really enjoy that. That is I think you guys got one of the most optimistic spreads for the previous week. Let's just kind of see some of the energies within the tarot of what you dealt with. For Scorpio, the previous week, Page of Pentacles. Seven of Wands. Wow, I really felt like that needed to be turned over. And for Scorpio, the preceding energies. Ooh, okay. Seven of Pentacles, I guess. And Ten of Pentacles in reverse. So, to me, that feels like a lot of building in areas that you didn't expect. It feels like in the previous week, you thought you were going to plant seeds in one direction and they would come back in another, and you had to do a lot of just like setting intention and like letting people know what's up, and like you didn't really necessarily feel like you identified with everybody that you were involved with, and it kind of felt like it was you against the world. However, I think that you really know what your game is right now, and I really think that you did enjoy every aspect of everything, even if somebody didn't really rub you the right way last week, because all this is about you building your potential, setting your boundaries, and creating resilience through everything that you go through because of the protection that you build. Great. Let me put this back so that we can kind of get a gauge for how this upcoming week of September 9th through 15th is going to go for Scorpio. And let's also keep in mind that this area is all of the projected, possibly the entirely inevitable energies that you have coming for you guys in this coming week, that this on some level will be how things align, even if it isn't exactly how I describe it. So look through the storyline and see how it would correlate for yourself. And you can even like come back to watch later to kind of check in to see if you know where these energies are really aligning, because sometimes you'll feel like you know where they are and they land somewhere else depending on where you are in your process and your lessons. So we started off the week with the Four of Pentacles in reverse. It really kind of feels like being vulnerable, honestly, and like opening up to people. Maybe past what you wanted, but it kind of feels like kind of like, screw it, let's just do this. Justice card in reverse. I'm going to lay out all these cards before we start digging in. Scorpio, second part of the week. Oof, duh. We have the Five of Pentacles in reverse here, and the Queen of Cups in reverse. We have the Seven of Cups, the King of Swords, the Seven of Pentacles, the Seven of Swords, and the Nine of Swords in reverse here at the end. Interesting. So I'm just going to start pulling some descriptor cards on top of these so that we can begin talking about this. So at the beginning of the week, I really feel like you decide to really interesting. I have a few different aspects coming into my mind. Let me just take a drink here. And I want to really get to know this energy for what it is. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so this, at the beginning of the week, you're gonna have this experience where it's gonna be like a coming together about like you're gonna be involved with someone else, whether it's a boss or a significant other or somebody from the past. It kind of feels like somebody from the past. But also like it's gonna be just like maybe multiple people too, like checking base, also like finding other people that you do need to be involved with, or maybe like adjusting who you were involved with before. But it's going to feel like you are trying to explain what you're needing to someone, and they're gonna have one point of view. I always kind of feel like the court cards aren't always going to just like be the King of Swords and always be an air sign. I've completely gotten rid of that mentality. It's always just how somebody shows up. If somebody's showing up to the situation only caring about the logic of something and just saying that this is how something needs to be, they're the King of Swords. If somebody else in that same scenario is trying to make sure that everybody gets what they deserve and make sure that everybody can always have something to gain from the situation, and that the abundance is always there, and the other person's being really cold about everything that's going on, that's how the personalities are going to act. And what's going to happen here is you're going to reach for a sense of clarity or gain in terms of what you deserve, or kind of like checking base with somebody. It does feel like it's somebody from like the past that you had experiences with that have either been amounting to an over bubbling or have already over bubbled, and there's just an overflow of what you guys are really needing from each other became convoluted, and it was a codependent sort of thing, and now you don't have anything to gain from each other, and you're having to face that aspect of understanding that now that there's nothing to be gained from this person, and that they're not yours anymore, that you don't own them or they don't own you, that you let go of the possession of each other and realize that both of you have different paths that you're on, and both of you kind of feel like there's a separate sense of logic and meaning behind each scenario that could occur, and nobody's really agreeing completely on it. So that's kind of how I feel about the beginning of the week. It does feel like correlating with someone else and trying to set up your path and having to split ways with somebody else's intentions and trying to kind of weave through other people's ideas and needs, and realizing all at once that you need to be like focused on this. And yeah, we'll see if there's anything more about that. But next we have the Queen of Cups in reverse with the Five of Pentacles in reverse here. So we have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse and Justice in upright now. Interesting. What else is going on for Scorpio here in the second part of the week? And we have the Ten of Pentacles. So it feels like at this area, you recognize that sort of scenario has kind of ended, and that you're not going to gain anything from it with this individual or the people you were trying to set something up with. And that's when you kind of realize, you know what? I know where my justice is due. I know where I'm actually feeling abundant, because that resiliency is really bubbling over from the past week, and I do feel like you guys are on the upper side of this. It's just that the past things that you're trying to coordinate didn't really fully pan out, and your acceptance of any of the karma that needed to occur a certain way, and you kind of let go of what was supposed to happen and recognize that you're not going to necessarily get the support that you wanted or needed at that point in your experience. And you're going to be kind of wondering, where is it that I'm going to get what it is that I'm searching for? Who is it that I'm actually going to involve myself with? And you're going to realize that it's everywhere, but you're going to be facing a sense of like, it feels like trauma, or like just like immediate PTSD after getting out of this other scenario, where you're going to realize, oh, okay, like this just hurts a little bit how I had to deal with this at this point, because the Five of Pentacles makes me think like, I was willing to dedicate towards this thing and really build it, and now it's not going to be built, and the support that I was searching for isn't going to come forward, and I have to leave behind that lack of that situation, and leave behind where that person's not willing to give forth care. And that's when you find where all of that abundance really lies. And then you have this King of Swords in the upright and the Seven of Cups. And I really feel like this is where like the storyline changes and you're kind of focused on new things and you're trying to see what you want to actually create and make your own. Yeah, and that's when you really find it. That's awesome. So what you have here is the facing of new ideas, and it's overwhelming and you have a lot of options of what you might recreate after what may have been put away, and you're like facing these decisions and you're just looking at everything as it is and trying to not get overwhelmed. And the Queen of Wands in reverse here kind of makes me feel like you start thinking outside of the box and you start thinking of other considerations, other options that you may not have cared or considered before. But that also you might turn your back on some of the expectations that some people had for you, because that's where that Ten of Wands comes in, where you're kind of saying like, you know, in this reversal, it's like, you know what, like, I cannot believe that even after some of the stuff that happened, I still kind of let myself identify with some of these older expectations and now I realize how much I've grown, and I'm so glad I'm out of that past scenario. That is really how I feel here, where you're going to all of a sudden come to this spot where you're like, oh my God, I was really letting myself get caught up in this muck and I do not identify with that any longer. And that's when you really let yourself get back up on the horse and carry through with the victory that you know that you've already won, that is waiting for you to claim its prize. And that's when you start to set up realizing and cherishing what you care about in your life and what you really want to dedicate towards as an independent. And then I actually feel like that's when you get a new offer, a new option that comes forward that actually does feel like a new thing that you receive as a responsibility here as you realize what you care about. And it does kind of feel like being like involved with work, realizing what it is that is your spot and what you're supposed to be at work. And then all of a sudden, like a family member's like, hey, do you mind like helping me with this project? And all of a sudden you're like, oh wow, I have like all of this. Wow. And like that's where that Two of Wands that you thought was supposed to be passionate with this person over here turns into just like abundance over here, and you get your like void filled. So at the next point of the Seven of Pentacles, that's awesome. That's where you start planting your seeds, and the Seven of Swords in reverse here, beginning to come back into a realm of treating yourself the way that you deserve. Ace of Wands in reverse for the clarifying card. Interesting. Seven of Cups again. I really feel like at this point you begin to really start to actually also like, okay, so sometimes reversals mean the opposite of a description. Sometimes reversals also mean like overreaching the upright meaning of something in a time where that's not what the energy was supposed to be, and like almost like conducting or I almost said convoluting. It is like convolution because it's like weaving together that like what Seven of Swords is, when it's like you can just let go of this at any time. So it's kind of like unrightfully sitting in an energy when you don't need to be in it and it's not really yours, and you could like just refocus and it's not actually there. So it's like a fake energy, and it's like in your head. It's in your head about being in your head. It's really ironic, but I really feel like the Nine of Swords and the Seven of Swords here really makes me think that you're looking past where you have planted your seeds. And some of the, like what I'm getting is that you're going to be really high vibe at the end of the week, and that high energy is going to kind of actually manifest as like a little bit too much energy, and you're going to kind of get wrapped back up into thinking that things have to go this way, that the illusion that you don't have everything worked out is going to come forward. But then, like, interesting. So then, because the Ace of Wands really makes me think that, like, with the Seven of Cups, you are frustrated and worried about how something hasn't really manifested the way that you need it to, and wondering if you're really going to get what you need. And then the Lovers card with the Strength and the Five of Cups. Okay, I definitely need a clarifier for those, because there's something very, like, that could be taken like a couple different ways, and I want to know what's going on here. Ace of Cups in reverse. Oh, interesting. I think that you're going to possibly turn yourself towards an individual. Yes. You might involve yourself with somebody. So we got the Nine of Pentacles in reverse here. That's where you kind of like look past, like I was saying, where your independence actually lies. And this is the Seven of Pentacles down here. This is slow process, and you're trying to skip to the Nine of Pentacles, and so it's in reverse here, because then you have this, what do you know? The Seven of Swords is supposed to be in the upright here, and it's why that's like, you just really don't need this energy, but it is. It's coming in, and you're feeling like you're not getting what you need right now, and you're going to get a little bit anxious, and it's because you haven't actually hit your completion yet. You haven't hit the spot where things are supposed to place a period at the end of the sentence, and you're trying to find how things are going to go because you're worried about how the rest of the month is going to go. And that's really how I feel. I haven't actually said that for anybody else. I think that's definitely what you guys are going to be going through, though. And like we said before, the Six of Swords, you're kind of coming back into a realm that you really did just figure out, and you're trying to grasp another meaning behind it. You're trying to make it seem like, you know, it didn't seem that easy to you. Like, that's how it was earlier in the week, when you kind of rose above everything and you were handling things in a way that was just like easy peasy, because it was like the extremity of the beginning of the week made you realize some clarity, and you were like, okay, but then it'll just like kind of like ooze back up, because you have a higher expectation for yourself, and you're going to distract yourself about what it is that you really are supposed to have, what you are supposed to manifest, and who you're supposed to be with, and it feels like you could potentially involve yourself with some people that you feel like you deserve something from, or that could help you, and you really shouldn't involve yourself with that person or those people, or consider that path. And it's going to, you can go through this with strength, but you can also let yourself think that you being strong means that you have to give way to this immediate fix that might occur, and that's not what you necessarily have to do. But all of this, you do end with the Page of Wands here. And with this Nine of Swords, let's just end that period as well with what this ends with the Page of Wands energy and the Nine of Swords in reverse. What are you ending the week with? What do you end up with? What does this all give you? Because that Page of Wands makes it look like you kind of skip past, and this was supposed to come up too, skip past what was going to be a bad choice, and it ends up getting you into a situation that works out. So what we have here is the Four of Swords in reverse. So it just means that you're going to have some, like, a lot of energy to deal with logical decisions and stuff, because you're trying to, it really feels like getting back into a realm where you have a sense of, like, it really feels like abundance issues and feeling worthy of the time that you're giving, as well as getting what you deserve from that time. And I just feel like a lot of different points of focus, a lot of different things that you feel like you need to do or fix or create, and a lot of things that you're trying to fix. Four of Swords would mean like trying to grasp and accumulate a sense of stability and something that is going to be something you can cash in on, or something that you can rely upon, because you're going to feel like it's not there. But then we have these other energies that are kind of waiting there with the Nine of Pentacles and the Nine of Cups and the Five of Swords, leaving behind the destructive intellectual obsessions of how things have to be, and grasping the side of yourself that really doesn't need these extra descriptions and worries to really give you what you're looking for. Really look at whether or not those energies that you're giving forward of trying to fix things and make sure that everything is what you deserve, or that everything kind of like all of the chords fizzle back down into something that you know that it can be, by coordinating all of it, being the puppeteer, and all of it is just going to come back down to the energy you had at the beginning of the week. So like tap back into it, into that clarity of mind. But I'm kind of skipping ahead into the higher potential area here. I'm going to save that for the cards that I pull up here. So now this is how you rise above the situation and tap into your highest vibrational, spiritual self of your highest endearment, and what you could potentially, what could help you manifest your greatest potential, and why this is all happening. The higher storyline, kind of, is what I describe it as. Alrighty, so we start with the Six of Swords. Then we have the Four of Cups in reverse. The Queen of Cups in reverse. And then we have the Three of Cups. So how this is, like what's going on here is that you are given an opportunity through this week to rise above, but then what happens is everything that you experience kind of shows you, as you've risen above, where it is that you have something more entailed and what you really could take advantage of. And that Four of Cups makes me feel like you need to pull yourself out of that area of like slumping down, and it really feels like fatigue of like looking at a pattern and saying, oh, this pattern is described like this, when another person could walk up and look at the pattern and just be like, nah, it's not a pattern, or it's supposed to look this way. And that's really what's coming to me, is that you could get caught up in the energy of the Four of Cups this week, where you could feel like you're supposed to take what's being given as a sign and see that everything is not in balance, when really there are certain parts of your life that aren't supposed to give you abundance right now because they're not at your highest potential. And looking at it in that way shows that this is just for what it offers. Let it be for just what it offers, and enjoy what that is, and stop saying that, oh, it's not this, and then like incorporating that into the storyline. Because this Queen of Cups in reverse shows me that it's not supposed to replenish every single nook and cranny of what you need it to. It's not supposed to feed everything, whatever you're involved with. All of the matters at hand are supposed to just give you experiences right now that are for the purpose of just giving you, just like knowledge, and experience. And it's like all for something more. And this is all for perspective within yourself and acceptance of where you aren't going to be getting any offers any longer from certain people, or that something doesn't have as much overpour for you to catch you into your cup, and to not be like knocking over that person's cup or getting mad at them for realizing that what they have to offer isn't what is helping you right now, but just seeing everything and being like, okay, that's not what this is about, I guess. I thought you were going to be able to offer this. I thought we were going to be able to do this together, or be able to do all these things. And honestly, like, that's all right, because I know that this week is not for that, and it's supposed to actually help me understand the areas of my life that I need to create my own cup of abundance and fill my own cup, because what this feels like is that you're not allowing yourself to fill your own cup in certain areas, and instead you're like looking at where others aren't filling it. And really, you have all the answers. That's what's coming to me right now of what they're explaining is like, you do have all the answers. It's just that it's not going to just be delivered in the way that Scorpio seeks them. It's not going to be in the language that Scorpio receives answers right now. And what you're supposed to do is actually just turn inward for filling a cup on any level, because you're supposed to really connect with a different type of power that is not coming from the external world. It is not supposed to come from the external world. And you are just supposed to let people be who they are and be involved. Three of Cups, just being involved in the dance independently, letting them be who they're supposed to be and dancing along next to them, and letting all of this stuff just be flittery, I don't know, like just like a flutter of quick energies that blast past, and like not letting that like describe anything. That's Mercury energy. So if it's mercurial, it's not supposed to drive a big bang that tells you how the whole storyline is. It's simply the part of the plot where the villain's cousin comes in and accidentally shoots the minor character, and you're like, oh, okay, like that kind of screwed this up, and now we're going into the climax, and this is what it's really about. I know that was ridiculous, but that just comes to show how like all these other things, you're trying to make it seem, there might be times where you might be trying to make it seem like, oh, this isn't replenishing me, this doesn't make sense for the higher storyline that I'm supposed to be on, and like, it's not time yet for that to matter. You're not supposed to take that as a description of what this really is about. You're not supposed to take this as a title of the play. This is a minor storyline, and that means that it's all about your building of your growth and just enjoying the experience to move past the clutter. Let's check in about all that to see if that's true. I also wanted to just kind of like give some better description down here, since I forgot to, about some of these energies that are going on. We have stillness. This is what all the three-dimensional might offer you. Deluge, yep. Certain areas in your life that might bring forward an influx of emotion that makes you wonder if the storyline is really going to turn out okay. And really, I'll just read it. I'll read it for you because deluge is a weird one. A flooding of emotional energy that may cause us to feel saturated at times. These waves of emotion can carry us to a safe shore if we are able to tolerate the discomfort. The practice of staying with difficult feelings and not jumping overboard can help us stay on course and land where we truly want to be. I just love the description of that because it landed right in the area where you have this Queen of Cups in reverse here, where it's going to feel like your cups are getting turned over and you're being placed in an area where you're not supposed to feel completely comfortable. And then you have the Source Energy card coming up right next in this area where you gain clarity in the third part of the week, towards the end of the work week. But right into the weekend, you have the Obstacle card. And that's where I think you once again kind of create this false sense of like worry that like, well, once again, like I feel like everything is supposed to polish my experience in a way that finally gives me what I deserve, because I've been really roughing it here. And you get back in contact with oneness, but then you let that oneness show you what your true potential is and think to yourself, then therefore I don't deserve anything but that at any other time. I need to fix this. I need to fix this right now. That's how that feels. And so you create this obstacle at the end of the week, but that's what this is all about. And it's really actually just supposed to be about random energies. That's Three of Cups, you guys. It's like random stuff. It's not actually supposed to define you, and then, you know, you just blast past it because that's mercurial energy. Let's see what this higher chapter of your life is really about for this portion of energy that you're going through. Balance. Totally, you guys. So that's why this is all happening, is that it's supposed to bring clarity into certain aspects of your life to understand where it is that things are really, you know, supposed to be prevalent, what areas are supposed to actually be a part of what is going to be a prominent part of your life, and what areas are supposed to just kind of stop being considered as a major function. And sometimes when you go through the balancing of things, it's going to feel like it's teetering. It's up to a master to understand what lessons are trying to be brought forward and not let those shake their soul. So also trying to seek that balance will help. Generosity. Oh man, so that means that there's going to be areas in here where you're going to be like, I really need something. That's where this Queen of Cups is coming and be like, I really need something, but everybody else is needing something. And I don't even know if I have that energy right now, you know? And that's a lot of people are kind of going through that this week. And you're going to have one idea of what you need and then realize that everybody else was thinking about something else, and you're going to realize that, like, because of that, everybody was thinking about something different, and so you go on thinking that it's about this, and they go on thinking about it's about that, and you just decide to kind of like give in and say, all right, I get what's going on here, I get what you're trying to do, so I'll just like keep going with this storyline. And you're going to feel like you might have gotten hurt, but actually you were strong. You endured. And you knew what this was about, and this is about personal transformation. Giving to others so that you can learn about yourself and the energy you're willing to give, what this is all driving home in the esoteric essence of what you're learning in each moment, and recognizing that sometimes you're just here to cultivate some experiences. And that's what that Three of Cups feels like. I think you're going to kind of just be like, all right, whatever, and just like go, and if you're smart, just enjoy yourself this coming weekend and let yourself come to the conclusions right afterward, after you ease up some of that energy. You want to kind of just release that is definitely what will help. And we'll see if that's the case with the Animal Oracle here. Animal Spirit Oracle. I don't know if that's actually the name, but it should be. What will help Scorpio rise above the situations of this coming week? Time to heal. That's really good to see here. That way you know, like, that's why these things are coming forward. That's why you have these fluctuations of energy, and sometimes you might get pricked and stung. It's because you need to go through the healing and not just assume that you're ready to go out and like take down the world yet. Believe in yourself, Squirrel Spirit. And that was Snake Spirit at the beginning. Squirrel Spirit, believe in yourself. Know that there's going to be a lot of hassle here and there throughout the week, but just enjoy the process. That's Mercurial and Three of Cups energy right there. And then Buffalo Spirit, the abundant universe will provide. That is wonderful to see there, because we did end some of those energies earlier with you worrying about whether or not the fact that these things aren't lining up quite right, if they'll actually give you what you're needing for the month. And I do sense that you might be jumping into some worries of lack in this week, but you don't need to worry about that. This is all about you just knowing that things are going to happen the way that they are, and that sometimes you aren't always the orchestrator of that within the moment, but that you are the orchestrator of what's going on from a higher perspective that you can't tap into right now. And that's the part of you that's saying that you need to go through this because there's areas that you need to heal, because you're letting yourself go through things that aren't benefiting your perspective, so that you always have the energy that you deserve to have in order to go through these experiences that might be coming down the line. Because what's going to happen this week will bring balance to how you will handle things in the future, and this will be a pivotal experience that will actually help you gain perspective so that you're not affected by things as much later. Cool. Let's see if your angels have any messages for Scorpio. In perfect timing, you guys. Perfect timing. So don't worry about being the orchestrator. Once again, what's going to happen is going to happen at the time. Opportunity, you guys. I love that. Opportunity is around the corner. The opportunity hasn't come yet. Let yourself hold the balance within yourself that keeps the space open for when that opportunity aligns with your spirit, so that you already are creating that high vibration that can bring forward what is in store. Any other messages can help? See with eyes of love, Scorpio. Give it the time it needs. That is such a great way to end this, you guys. I really hope that this helps you throughout the week. Please give me a contact if you needed some support through this week as well. I do tarot readings and I do hypnosis, so I would love to work with you guys. And please give this a like if you enjoyed it. And if you would like to see the upcoming video, be sure to not miss it. So hit the notification button. I'm a growing channel, very new, so we'll see where this flows, and I would love to have you listen in on the next one so that you can keep an eye on how these energies are going to go for next week. I love you all, and you have a wonderful week ahead of you guys.